Welcome back to the Renegade Report. I'm Francis Mayer, and today we're talking BC tennis because they have totally turned it around. As we talked about earlier, BC's women's tennis team last year didn't win much, but this year, Coach Jacobs, who has done a wonderful job with men's tennis and the whole tennis program in general. And just to get this point across, when we talk about a program, this is much different than a recreational league team or even a high school team because you have to recruit. We don't just have this wave of people who are forced to attend our institution every year. Coach Jacobs and now Coach Laudermilk, welcome to the fold, Coach. You need to recruit, you need to plan, you need to do all these things to actually sustain the program. I mean, you guys travel a lot.
Well, we try to whenever we can.
Yeah.
So, I mean, local talent, there's always going to be some local talent out there, some smart kids too. So it's tough. They have the opportunity a lot of them to go to a good 4-year school because of their academics, maybe some scholarship money, but a lot of them want to continue their tennis careers, and this is a great opportunity to do it.
Why do you like? I mean, Bakersfield and Kern County does produce some tough athletes.
Yeah, we have a lot of athletes to pull from. I mean, you get more into the the southern cities, LA, Orange County, San Diego. There's more of a population there to pull from, but
Sure.
But here we have some good athletes. There's some good coaches around town in all the sports, and
You're one of them.
Oh well, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
but you're a tennis coach. You're a tennis guy. You and Jacobs both. I mean, this is not a sideline interest for you. This is your entire life, right? I mean,
This is all I know. I mean, I've coached other sports, basketball, volleyball, but tennis ever since my junior year in high school. That's all I've ever.
And where
done.
did you go to high school?
I went to BHS.
You are homegrown.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
a driller.
I'm a driller.
And you've traveled a lot since then. You've been around. Where have you gone?
I mean,
You've been overseas.
Yeah, I've been overseas. I mean, I've taught tennis in Hawaii, New York, parts of Italy, Vermont, Massachusetts.
Distant Massachusetts.
Yeah, tennis I've been lucky. It's brought me a great opportunity to go to a lot of places and do what I like to do.
Absolutely. No, it really has. And that's something you can pass on to the ladies. Now, we were talking to DeFries and Tucker just now, and boy, two contrasts right there. Two totally different types of players, two different types of people, but you saw something there. And they were not a doubles team all season. Did you see something? Was it like one of those aha moments when you were like, I know what I'll do?
Halfway through the season, I kept my doubles lineup the same every time, unless someone was injured or sick. And once the second half was about to begin, I kind of just thought things through and saw everybody's strengths and weaknesses, and I just, along with them, I changed all the teams. So we have 3 doubles teams. I changed them all, and I think overall as a team with those 3 changes, we were a lot more solid throughout. So, and I realized before I put Kaylee and Riley together that they were going to have an opportunity to do well into the postseason as well, and it showed. They
saw that?
Definitely ahead of time, and we were one point away from going to the final this upcoming week to the Western Conference, and hey, they did a great job. So.
And there were some other clutch performances. We had somebody rally back from behind, didn't we?
Yeah. My other doubles team of Ashley Guillen and Lucy Cisneros, they were down to Santa Monica 7-6, and they ended up pulling it out 9-7, and that was to clinch a berth to the Ohio State Championship.
I mean, they literally scratched tooth and nail and fought their way into the next round.
They weren't playing well at all, and sometimes it's going to happen, and they buckled down and got the job done. So now
did you threaten them, or
they were both really not happy with the way they were playing at that time. So anything that I was going to say was not going to help. That was just up to them to get through, and they did it.
So, like you said, you've been teaching tennis since your junior year. Do you think you're a natural teacher? Do you enjoy that more than competing?
I do now. Coaching is something that you have to learn how to do. When I first did it, you think you're good, you think you're great, but what do you really know? So I look back, 7 years before, and I look at what I was saying, how I was teaching, and you have to laugh because it doesn't make sense now what you were doing.
Sure.
First, as a coach, you have to be a motivator. You have to make sure people trust you, and you have to be a good speaker. You have to relay things to them and be very personable, and then you have to know what you're talking about as far as tennis goes. So I think now I fully understand what I'm saying and why I'm saying it. You have to back it up because some students will ask you why, and that's an important question.
Like just shot in the dark here, but like a Tucker say.
Right.
She might want to know the whys.
Definitely.
I have a little Riley at home who's not a magical thinker.
Right.
And this is a story that sums up my daughter. We had a cat that was hit by a car. And unfortunately, the neighbor came home from work, and then my wife and my daughter came home from school at the same time. And the neighbor was like, oh, like God wanted a pet. And my wife was like, no, that's not what happened at all. Someone was driving too quickly down the street, and the transference of energy into the cat's body caused a rapid deceleration of its organs, and it likely bled out and stopped functioning. And Talia was like, thank you for telling me that. She was satisfied with that answer because she wanted to know why the cat wasn't moving.
Right.
And that was the darn truth. That's why that cat was not moving. And Tucker needs to know why the cat's not moving.
Yeah, I think all the players, being as young as they are, and what they think is right and what's wrong, I have to explain it sometimes. The other day, we got into it on the court because she wanted to know why she was playing back when she's usually playing up, and I guess we kind of met halfway because I didn't realize something, and then she saw like there was an advantage to it. So sometimes I make mistakes as a coach too. I'll jump on them when I shouldn't, and then I have to be like that. That's my bad. So
Are you a jumper?
I guess you could say I am. I am. I'm a hard coach, and they know it, but I make mistakes just like everybody else does, and I let them know when I make a mistake, and sometimes I do.
Is he a meddling mother-in-law? Let's talk about him like he's not sitting 6 feet away.
Okay.
Is he a meddling mother-in-law? Does he well, I heard you paired up DeFries and Tucker.
Yeah, he loves to do exactly what you just
Really?
you just did. What you just did. He says it just like you said it as well. So
Hey, laddie. Hey, might have heard you paired up Tucker and DeFries.
You're spot on. And,
Oh my God.
But it's okay. I know he's just trying to look out for the best interest of the program as a whole, of course. And I can deal with it to a certain extent.
Nick, is this what you expected from Coach
Oh, yeah.
Laudermilk? Like, tell me about how you knew him before and what.
Oh, he used to actually coach me when I was younger.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
You're responsible for part of this here.
You
Yeah,
can just,
the good parts.
Yeah, you can just paint a picture of how that went. Yeah.
And he was a spicy player, wasn't he?
It was funny. I would always just laugh because he
Yeah.
would smack his racket and complain, and I would egg it on.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's his main thing. If you haven't seen him, he likes to egg on a lot. Oh, yeah.
Does he really? He's a bit of a
yeah.
sadist.
Oh yeah, a little bit. But no, he he does well for the program. I mean, I knew coming in he was the most qualified person, and I just let him. Even though I'll nitpick some stuff, I don't really question that much. It's more on the lines of I just like to know what's going on. I let him fully do whatever he wants because he obviously knows what's best. So I'm just like, all right, there you go.
Well, I think a lot of people, like, we know because we work in this business of athletics, but like I'll see people at the grocery store sometimes, especially during football season, and they'll they're everybody knows best, right? And they're like, hey the football, you tell Coach Chudy they need to throw that ball downfield more often. And I'm like, yeah, because he doesn't watch film 60 hours a week or anything.
Right.
That's the ticket. We do take a look at things on the macro level and dissect them, but that's how we stay competitive, and that's how you've been able to. Both of you actually deserve a lot of credit for turning the team around and making a desirable place to be. I can't imagine what it was like recruiting when we didn't have a win to show for it or really a dedicated coach. And I mean, you were spread very thin last year. I can't imagine what more you can do with the men now that you have Coach Laudermilk focusing on the women's side of things.
Yeah, last year was a little tough because it was what I didn't like. It was more on the lines of me not trying to be rude, but like kind of babysitting both teams, and I didn't. And then I knew it was coming in. I was gonna have last year. That was what I was gonna have to do, and I just got dealt with it. And then at the end of the year, or toward the end, when all the high schools were out, I knew a few of the players that were coming in. I just kind of had to sell it to them, and I'm like, we don't. I mean, for the women's side, it was hard because our coach who was there left, and I'm like, you got to get in the fall class. I'll be teaching it, but we don't have a coach, and I'm doing my best to try to find one. And then once we got one, once Nick he actually called me up and was like, oh, I'm coming back into town, and I'm looking for the opportunity. And once all the stuff got set in place, I knew we were good to go. He knows what he's doing.
That really is, by the way, that's like the backstory to every Disney sports movie. World-weary traveling coach comes back to the hometown and takes on the struggling women's tennis team, and now you've got ladies going to Ojai. Good on you, seriously. We hope you stick around for a while, Coach. How do you feel about the chances at Ojai?
That team right there that we just spoke to, they have a chance to compete all the way through. That's a good team. You mix in consistency with a little bit of power, baseline, and the net, and you never know what can happen. I mean, 1 point away from the finals. Once we get into the finals, we could have won. So they should be seeded for the tournament, and being seeded, helps your chances to get through. So I'm excited to see what they can do. I'm excited to see what the other team can do as well. I think they're going to be ready.
Well, I cannot wait to hear about it. And folks, let me tell you how I'll hear about it. Coach Loudermilk will text me a heartbreaking work of staggering genius that summarizes the day's events. This guy, by far, sends me the best summaries of the day's athletic contests. And Coach Jacobs gets tenacity points, but Coach Loudermilk gets style points. I could actually bind and publish all of the texts from the season's matches that you've sent. You have a career as a tennis blogger if you wanted, dude.
Thank you.
They're touching. I'm not even busting your chops. They're wonderful. We're going to have more news about BC tennis after, of course, the Ojai tournament, which isn't this weekend. It's next weekend, but it's an incredible accomplishment. Please remember this when your tennis players come around and want you to buy tickets to the tennis dinner and the fundraiser. It's important to support them because we're actually getting results on the court. Bakersfield is a tennis town, and you can be part of it for the entire Renegade Report team. I'm Francis Mayer. We'll see you next week.